Welcome to Book Solve, and as I read The Children of the Dead by Elfrieda Jelinek, pages 99 to 148. These are chapters 8, 9, 10, and 11. Um, this is a demanding book to read, there's no doubt about it. Um, and I think I want to start off first in reviewing these 50 pages by perhaps saying some of the things that I've sort of picked up, about how things work in this book. Um, some of the conceits. Well, one of them is that time is entirely malleable. We're going back and forth in time for each of the characters, although perhaps more so that time is moving at a different speed for each of the characters. There's a compression at times for some of them, and a huge expansion of time. On page 143, for instance, we read that we're getting older by several years while only seconds pass for this man. So in one scene, things are happening quickly from the comprehension of one character and really, really slowly from the comprehension of another. Um, also, there's a sense in which movement here is um, a symbol of being alive. If things are moving, then they're alive. If they're still, if they're frozen, a statue, or then that's when things are totally dead. That there's some kind of spirit of moving that is imbued in living things or resurrected things. Um, this is all around one location at this Alpine Inn, um, but the characters have gotten this in. There are some who are just real; they're tourists, and they're lower middle class people, and Jelinek's quite acerbic about them. I think in criticising their criticising the fact that they've got self satisfaction, that they accept the commercialism of their culture, and the comfort that they're given, and that they're living with some kind of hubris, um, and that really um, theirs is a thin veil against the ravages of brutality of real human nature. Um, and it gives the idea, I think, in the book that existence is some kind of uh, vivid, febrile dream, and that um, we either take that, we don't comprehend it well. We just know about ourselves in that particular moment, and are not good at either um, looking at the past or worrying about the future, where we're all too tied up in our existence at that particular time. I think this is true of a lot of the sort of undead zombies that are walking about here, and our main four characters. And these figures that are dead or not dead, um, uh, although they don't quite understand what's happening to them, and maybe they're repeating things that have happened in their earlier lives before they were dead, um, scenes and emotions and things. Um, they also exist in a kind of duplicated state. There are two Gudruns and um, two Edgars, and they're experiencing things together. Anyway, Edgar, I think, is an exemplar of the mediocrity of of those sort of middle class people. It says he lets his flesh die and instantly resurrects it on himself again, and that nature despises anything new because it's so old in itself. I think this is the idea that we sometimes realise that we're not good at understanding our human condition, but we keep pasting over it. We just carry on and try to push it to one side. This thing that's happening to us, this mortality that is eating away at us. Now, the chapter about Edgar's really him either travelling up or down the mountain, and talks a lot about the roadway that snakes up there, and its hairpin turns as it wends its way up or down from the deep forest to the inn. And there are three characters, three men that are hiking up or down, who are sometimes aware of Edgar and he's aware of them, but at other times aren't, and they cross paths, and we're not quite sure what kind of people are they. There's a little extract here got on page 96. Let's have a little look. What was it we wanted to say here? What kind of people are they anyway? Edgar Stranz is utterly dumbfounded. He's abusing his brain to think, and he gives some thought to the three wanderers from before, who have long since disappeared behind the curve. Ah, there they are again, as if a film had been rewound. A bend of the road duplicated the road as spiral or spectral staircase, and there those three from before are entering the mountain a second time. Like, there's always this repeating of time and things that are happening again or have happened or will happen, that is mixed in with this. You're not getting a straight narrative of things that are happening, and it's difficult to try and pin that down to anything in particular. Edgar actually sort of sinks back down into the earth, is taken, I think, again by the earth, which is very much a female entity. And we turn back to Gudrun in her room, where she's had that previous experience of watching herself having sex and all the rest of it. And now there's a whole chapter where she moves down from her room and becomes there are things reaching out to her, and especially refer to the animal heads that are trophies that are on the wall, and she's in a bit of a panic in this move down, but she finally makes it down through to the lobby over the time on there, and then outward to outside the hotel into a container for human cargo. It says a coffin, I mean, this is it now. And inside there, she gets transported to a bare street and a building in that street, and up into a room there, and likens all that to a typical tenement in Vienna. You get the feeling this is probably somewhere where Gudrun has lived in the past, and that things aren't going to go too well for her there. Um, they don't, I think we can say, because very soon through the there we go. Very soon through the window, and some of the glass is missing, and there's paper up at the windows. Instead, this is very rundown place that she is. Um, a spectral man appears. Now, I'm not sure who this is at all, um, but we soon find out that this man who's outside the window at the moment, but then apparates into the room, um, is some kind of victim of the war, because a lot of his body's shot away. Half his head has gone, um, and it he starts to assault Gudrun. I'm going to read some of this, which is the first bit of that section, and it gets far more violent and far more explicit than even this. Um, this particular period, but here we go. This is again a flavour of what you expect when you what you might expect when you're reading this book. The man with nothing on his right side, no pet, not even himself, for he is quasi-folded. A man whose life is finished, in whom the spine of memory has been folded back a bit, as if he still tried to turn the page but didn't get to finish reading the book. So here is this young man, his body discarded, almost unused when it was thrown out. Still good. It's quite a pity, isn't it? His hair still thick, a wild mess, whole clumps falling out as if tousled, as lovers like to do, though in other parts still solidly in place. The apple core still has plenty of apple to it, and the joint capsules firmly hold back their flesh if, imagining itself unbound, it wants to disappear for a bit. And what's more, the flesh is even growing, surprising the happy fella with his very self. On the branches of that hips, it already bursts with skin, lures with passions that, like joint fluid, drip out with gelatinous clarity, since someone, doctors, nurses, helpers, broke open those firm thighs, burrowing inside them with claws of steel. This son was doomed and dumped into the garbage, blood water running from his sides. But uh, but in return, he now leads us closer to Gudrun. Lightning, like the scene, like rotted wood, pulls her slip over her head, and the straps also pull back on her shoulders so that her breasts come out like folding wheels. Her body can also be used as a luggage cart, or like the famous Nerp's folding umbrella. Once is enough, and the woman exits the compartment, and then you dry yourself off and leave again, but only after you've jump-started the woman. And a second hand that more or less comes out of nothing, since one half of the young man is almost completely gone, pulls Gudrun's somewhat worn cotton panties down her knees, while life shines into the woman's eyes and senses, and she learns that sometimes one has to line up in front if there is no room in the back. The wheels rattle. One hand, which unfortunately is not there, goes on a journey and kneads the roast and lifeless vegetables under the anthill of sex, where pine needles of pubic hair have been woven and arched into a small heap, into a bite to eat that's grabbed between the lips and chewed. And even in a place where the man's face has been cut off, Gudrun can still feel the strong teeth. Her body is in the making, but it is not the body of the Lord. This is really strong stuff, and as I say, actually, it gets on to be even more explicit than that particular extract would have you think. This is not a book for somebody looking for a light, happy little read or story. And it's difficult to understand what's going on. Why is this being said? Why are we being forced to watch this? Um, Imagine it's all tied into the Holocaust, to World War II, and the things that happened there. and really the way that we, the ordinary people, let this happen. Let um, Hitler into full control, and how Austria didn't do enough to um, stop the Jews being um, transported out of Vienna to Auschwitz and the other extermination camps. Um, on chapter 11, Edgar, um, we go back to Edgar, and he's regaining a consciousness, and starts to speed back down the mountain. He was up the mountain towards the hotel on a board, skateboard, the snowboarding. It's difficult to understand what it is, but it's like this. It's something that can help him to move faster and faster. And as he goes, he's actually stirring up new souls from the ground to start to become real as well. Now, there was another piece that I wanted to read, but I think actually we've got to 16 minutes. I think I'll stop at that point. He gets back down to the to the hotel, the inn, and encounters the three people, those three hikers again, and they're ready for a repast to actually eat. And the scene gives the idea that he's going to be the meal, that he's going to come down and they're going to be eating him or their own bodies, or so there's a sense of some certain amount of consumption of human flesh going to be going on, and that's where we're at as we get to this point, and we are ready to start chapter 12 on page 149. So there you go. Yes, so at this point I shall say cheerio from Booksall, and happy reading to you.